time, the final frontier. This is Lisa Russick. And who else is this? This is Lisa Russick.
And Misty Laura.
With the podcast, We're All Psychic. And today we have Faith back. It's Faith, dear Faith. And we love you. And we're so happy you're back. And Misty and Faith just met and they got along great. Everybody's happy. And Faith, do you still think we're all psychic?
I do. I definitely do.
Do you have
and
I heard
I heard the recent podcast with Granddaughter Crow, and I loved her answer to that question, because I usually take it like just an individual intuition, and she went so global with it, which was amazing. But the only thing I want to say about intuition is that sometimes messages from the mind are not really intuition.
Messages from the mind. What could okay, that's interesting. Intuition does feel like more like empathy or a feeling of moving something that comes in like a thought is different than clairsentience, say, or I'm sorry, claircognizance, say, because claircognizance is more like a knowing. It's not like this for me anyway. It's not like a thinking just goes through. It's just like
right.
Information.
Yes,
but to like be a telepath, say, and hear like the gist of someone's what's going on in there, I guess that's different. So Misty and Faith and I are going to talk about time today, and this is an audio only podcast. So she was going to start. She made that wonderful outline thing again, listeners, if you didn't hear her first podcast with us. And she did this outline. She made another outline, and we love outlines when she makes them because they're very, very helpful to keep me on track and from tangents, because I can look at it and go, oh goodness, I'm way far away from that topic and I'm talking about my family again or something, or my cats. But it's about time. When you think about when you ramble, you ramble about that happened and that happened and that happened, and you don't think about what order it happened in necessarily. You're just kind of running your mouth. And so, I mean, when I think about time, I really think that we're existing in a four-dimensional space. I think of time as a fourth dimension. If you want to think of it that way, I do. And it's fluid. I think it's a fluid dimension. I think it's one that is not, it's not how we perceive it as linear because of the way we experience our senses. I think we have to form some kind of sense out of it, so we experience it linearly. But that's just, I don't know where to go from there. I don't know what it could really be like. I can do it in dreams maybe, or maybe write a poem, make it sound like it. Write a song is trippy. Songs can do it. Songs can almost get you to that place where you're like,
yes, I agree. A
right?
good
Music can do that.
There,
good music can do that. So we're going to start off like just talking about timelines in general. And that's like, I just rambled for a good 3 minutes or maybe 2 minutes. It felt like about 3 hours though, didn't it? Felt like a long time.
Yeah, you did.
When you mix these podcasts, it's not like that. It's like, wow, I thought I talked there for like 20 minutes. No, it was 2 seconds or 20 seconds or something. You'd be surprised what happens when you go through time and you like experience it and you look back at it and then you go back. Another interesting thing about that Granddaughter Crow podcast, Faith, was that I wrote her when I was mixing the podcast, and I said to her, wow, the first prayer worked. I got the same exact, I got in my sacred space. I remembered there being 2 prayers. And then when I got to the end of it, we were talking about how you forget what you're doing in a ritual because of the timelessness of it. When you're out of time, when you're there, you're moment to moment. What does that even mean? Right. But that's what it is like. And I said to her, gosh, there wasn't a second prayer. I said, I remembered there being one. And I remembered getting that tranced out feeling again, but we were both like, wow, she was, pretty
good job.
That energy too. Yeah. But that was something where there was there was like a feeling of total timelessness during that podcast after she said that prayer, that invocation. And what is timelessness for you guys? What is a timeline? I mean, to me, it's like looking at the past to now, right moment now, right now is, it is on that clock, 6:40 with 55 seconds, 56, 57, 50. Yes, my lucky cat analog clock. And it is October the 17th, right?
Yep.
2023. So that's what the moment was just then, and now it's different.
Yes,
Now I'm
everywhere.
confused. So we'll just go from this hour of 7 o'clock or 6, 7 o'clock ish. So that's going to be the time. So before then would be the past, and after that's the future. And so, as psychic readers, for one thing, we definitely get asked a lot. What do we get asked, Faith?
When is someone going to call or contact, or when am I going to get engaged, or when?
When will I
Yeah.
hear? When will
Yeah.
Misty, what do you hear the most, like around that? Do you not get asked when you're going down into like what's going on?
Is dinner gonna be ready?
Oh, there you go, Misty.
I'm going to go to school. Why is a lot to
When and why go really well together, actually.
Yes, they do.
Missy always dropping that mic. Oh gosh, Gandalf. Gandalf's attacking. Like he had a nightmare, everybody. And
Oh, no.
are you gonna be okay? Are you gonna be okay? We'll just give him a minute to calm down. Yeah, I saw this
got my
timeless
baby on my
talk
lap
was
right
getting
now.
him stressed.
I got my
And
baby on my lap.
so what do you guys think about like with Miss Faith, you have this great outline. You're talking about destiny and free will in here, how it plays in. And Misty and I actually did a podcast about free will and destiny one time. We just kind of discussed our thoughts on it and stuff. We'd love to hear yours. What do you think about destiny and free will?
Well, a lot of times, and by the way, it is 5:42 here, which is tricky because we're experiencing the same thing at different times.
Different time zones. Yeah.
Everybody accepts in the world, which is kind of strange. But I try to explain to people when I'm reading that I look at it when I'm looking at future time as I'm standing on the top of a mountain and I'm looking at all these rivers and tributaries and almost like a big spider web going down. And I'm looking at what is the most likely outcome, like what's the biggest river. And there's millions of rivers, and things could happen we have no idea, aren't even in our framing and human time. So we're looking, I think, at psychics as what seems to be the most likely outcome today, but tomorrow those rivers could look different. And I think even if there's a huge river, if someone sees it and doesn't want to take it, their free will, they can take a different one, right?
That's the truth.
Yeah. And so when you're talking about maybe like a couple, this one person might want marriage, the other person doesn't, or isn't going to want to, or changes their mind for whatever reason. A lot of times they get scared or whatever, and those kind of things like fear can change an outcome. I do think that there is a destiny that is agreed upon before someone even takes birth, but they can change that destiny. I think it gets a little tricky because I don't know if like in the big chess game of the universe, if it actually is taking into consideration that person's free will is going to come into place. That's where it gets trippy to me. So I try not to go too crazy. And then an additional trip is, like you said about the dimensions. I feel like
she just went to the fifth dimension, Misty.
Simultaneously.
She went to the fifth. Are you back?
In the spirit realm.
You're back. You went to the fifth dimension, Faith. You were gone. Rose up. You're back. You started talking about it.
I'm back.
You went. Yep. Okay. Come back. Wait. Come back to us. Okay. Okay. We're good. It worked.
Yeah, that Wayne's World. But I guess you probably heard me talking about the dimensions, but in the spirit realm, I think there isn't time. So, and that's our souls are existing simultaneously in that realm. So it's really only in the material realm that time even exists. So it's very difficult. I don't think our human minds are set up to truly understand it. I think as we progress in our soul births and become older souls, we can grasp it a little bit more through faith or whatever. But
Yes,
ultimately, I think it's really weird.
I agree.
It is,
It's
yeah.
hard to concept,
Yeah.
time, period. It's hard to actually realize there's a place that doesn't have time because we're so used to it. That's just what we're
Right.
I mean, it's just
born with.
like, well, I can't.
Yeah.
And then when you go and be a psychic reader and pursue it for a long time to where you can see things happening, you know what I mean, guys? You predict
Mhm.
things for other people, and they start saying it happens, and it happens more and more. And then you
Mhm.
see things for yourself. I mean, for me, the first vision I ever had that came true, it wasn't a vision, it was a dream. I think I made like joking references about weird things in dreams coming true, like when we talk about that in podcasts, and I'll be like a hose on the ground. Well, that's when my first one. I was like at St. Anne near in Decatur, and I must have been in fourth grade, and I had a dream that I was at St. Anne Indicator coming out the building, and there was a hose on the ground looking a certain twisted up way with water dripping out of it. And it was just barely turned on.
Cool.
And I was just like, okay. And that was my dream. And I didn't remember it. But then when I was going down the stairs that day, that morning, and I turned around the corner, there was that hose with that. I was like, whoa.
Yeah. It's kind of like deja vu,
I'd
wasn't
had,
it?
yeah, then I remembered that I'd seen that hose, same exact thing, and all that happened in the dream. It wasn't deja vu. I was in fourth grade, and I was like, what was, but I didn't tell anyone because, like, I guess stuff like that happens sometimes, but I didn't, that one
Mhm.
was stuck with me for some reason. As
Yeah.
not the first
Because
time I
you did it.
noticed it as, unusual, maybe.
Yeah.
But it was out of time. I predicted that in my dream going to happen. What does that mean? But we were just talking about that with the spirits, and many people contact spirits in their dreams. They have visitations in their dreams from spirits, right? The parents, the
Yeah.
grandparents, the children, the ancestors, the brothers, the sisters, cousins. They come in dreams, and that is a timeless space, really. Because I mean, gosh, haven't you ever had one of those dreams that lasted freaking 3 years or something? And you had a whole
Mhm.
time, and then you had begot children and lived their lifetimes. And do you ever have any kind of dreams like that? I don't know if either of you guys did when you're younger. Maybe I
Yeah.
did a lot when I was younger. I'd say
Yeah.
like mainly like in my late teens and early 20s, I'd have these huge because I slept a lot. I was in college, I slept.
I love to dream.
I
So, I've been having dreams lately. I love them
have
so much.
too.
I don't want to wake up. I'm just having so much fun in my dream. I'm just like, I
Me
don't want
too. That's
to
so weird that you
reality.
say that because I never
Yeah.
had really good dreams, and I'm having great ones.
Yeah.
They're
I
fun, and
know.
I
Isn't
wake
it
up with good
weird?
songs in my head. Faith, is that happening to you too?
Yeah. It's happening all the time. I'm having to schedule more time for sleep
Yeah.
because so much is happening in my sleep time. Yeah, and
Oh,
then the alarm goes off. I'm like, but I'm not done, and I can
Yes,
turn
that's
the
how I
alarm
feel.
off, and
Yeah.
actually the dream will continue.
yes, yes. I can fall back into
Yeah,
it too if I have to
Yeah.
use a tinkle or something to go tinkle.
Yeah.
Come back,
Hmm.
miss it, and whoop, right back into it. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
really weird.
It is weird. I love it.
Wow.
It's
And that's
cool.
all three of us. I know a lot of people are saying the veil this Halloween is like almost like to me, it seems like it's non existent. Part of it's because my doctor messed up my medication and I'm only on half of my antidepressant, which is also, I have no pain right now, everybody. If you've been paying attention and listening to the podcast anyway, there's no pain right now, but I am a little bit manic and depressy here and there because he won't believe me on my medication. He's a new doctor. So, it's just an antidepressant. I don't know why, but it's messing me up.
I'm telling
A
you.
little bit,
Hmm.
and talking about this topic is perfect for it. When my mind isn't as, in conjunction with what I feel like everybody else is in conjunction with. For you two, I feel like you're kind of in the same place, and I feel like really like just out there. I'm comfortable feeling that way because that's how I used to feel a lot, but I'm not as self-conscious as I used to be, for example. Now that's going into the past, but I can go back there and I can remember feeling that way. I don't want to. I don't want to. But when I was that young, I never would have believed it would ever go away because I thought that's the way everybody felt and that's the way life was, say 12, 13, when I started getting sensitivities and, feeling other people's emotions and stuff, and then going, those are mine. I'm a crazy person. I thought that, where'd that thought, those kinds of things started happening. I'm sure you both can relate some to that. And, but I always could do this one thing where I could, I just get these flashes of what's going to happen. And I just, they're visions basically. They come out of nowhere and they're usually about people in my life. And they're like snapshots. And it gives me a little information about my future. The first ones, I mean, were about people I ended up meeting. Like I'd see a snapshot. I call it a snapshot. It's in my head. It's just a
Yeah.
still vision. There's no
Yeah.
movement. And the first one of the first ones I remember that came true from, because it's just a long time. It was when I left Phoenix. I had been telling Tori that I had a snapshot of my little girl, Gabrielle. If you've ever heard me talk about her, she wasn't my little girl, but she was a girl who I raised from like 6 months old to 2. Oh, those years. I don't remember
Yes,
any of those
fun
years.
years.
Those years are fun.
Yes,
But
they are.
yeah, and I kept seeing her in pictures. I said I can't explain it. There's just a whole bunch of pictures of her. And I said, I think it means I'm not going to stay here. I think I'm leaving. I think I'm not going to stay with this husband. I don't think I'm going to stay with him because I keep seeing her in pictures. That was the information that was being given to me. And that's sure enough. I came home and a year later I was on Facebook and I saw pictures of her growing up. The whole,
Oh, wow.
ever since I haven't seen her again, but we talked on, Messenger, Facebook or Zooms and stuff like that over the years here and there. Gabrielle.
Good.
But the point is that
You were getting snapshots of people like in your head, and she was one of them. She was the first one.
Snapshots. Yes,
Yeah.
that's the first one, the snapshots. Thank you, Misty. You're an angel. She saves me all the time. I told you I'm out of here. But that happened like that with my first husband. I saw him in the future with white hair. It was a vision. He had white hair, and I didn't know what that meant, and haven't seen him again. He had red hair last time I saw him. With the second husband, I saw him with white hair, but I never saw him. He doesn't have white hair, and I'm not with him. Now, the guy I'm with now, I see with streaked white hair. So I think that means I'm going to be with this person longer. But then again, I am 48 and he's got red hair. So it's going to go white, they go white or as he calls it, cinnamon sugar. But, that's something that people really identify age and timing. They really identify age with time, aging.
Well, isn't it funny how when you're younger, you're like, you want to hurry up in time, you want time to fly by as fast as possible.
I wanted to be an adult so
and
bad.
When you get older, you're like, wait a minute, slow down. This is going way too fast. And the older I get, the faster it goes by.
Yeah,
And I know people used to say that all the time. And I'm like, yeah, right, whatever. But now that I'm older, I'm like, dang, it really is going by. Like, weeks are going like by days, it seems like.
Yes. Is it, I mean, it seems like even more exaggerated to our generation for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah. Yeah.
Our generation kind of like we haven't gotten listened to that much about a whole lot of stuff. I'm sorry, what were you going to say, Faith?
Well, they say also that part of the reason it's like that is because when you're, say, 10, 1 year is like a 10th of your experience. But as you get older, it's less sense. And less.
That makes sense.
That's part of why.
It's just
statistics.
You only have so much. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think we're just learning so much when we're kids. There's so much information now we're doing as adults. Really, we have to do for others and do for our families and do for ourselves.
Well, we also see adults too do things, and we're like, "Well, I want to do that too."
Yeah.
I want to do it now. I want to be 18. I want to be 21. I want to be an adult. And only 12. But that's what you see around you, so that's what you want to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. And then when you get older, you're like, well, gosh, I wish I was, 12 again.
Yeah. Well, it's like I kind of wish I were like little. Like I used to hate being in first grade, second grade. I'd sit there in first grade and just stare at the clock. Like it'd be like 2:00 and I'd be like, oh my God, it's never going to be 10 to 3. Never. I just stare at it. I could watch the little seconds go tick, tick. Never get out of that room.
Well, that's also when kids start to understand time around that age more, right? That's when they learn. And prior to that, they don't have any sense of time. And
No,
it can
they're
drive adults crazy because you're like, you're going to wait a half hour, but they have no
I know,
idea what a half
consider.
hour means. Yeah.
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 Well, I
And
had to teach my grandson like by shows. Like, this show is 30 minutes long, that's 30 minutes. This show is an hour long, that's 2 30-minute shows. That's how I've had to try to teach him, time. But we're going through that right now. That's why it just reminds me
When
of
I did
him.
that, yeah, when I did
He
that,
just asked me, how long is this podcast going to be?
you have to explain that. Yeah. I always showed them the numbers from whenever I had kids, especially Gabrielle or Spencer. The Spencer, we already knew his numbers. He was done. He knew numbers when I met him, 5. But, Gabrielle, I helped her. Like, that's how I would do. I'd show her the clock, the analog clock, and the numbers. And I'd say, when that number said, I taught her what 1 through 9 were, 0 through 9 were. And then I was like, when that number says that, wake me up, and I'd write it on a piece of paper and put
I
it.
just did that with Zay.
You did? Oh, that's so cool.
But I did it with an alarm clock though. I said, when it says 6:20, wake me up. I just did that.
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah. And he knew, right? He knew what that
Yeah, he came in and woke me up. He's like, yeah, it's time to get up.
And I would always say to them, that's an hour, or I'm going to take an hour nap. And that will be at exactly 5:21 or something, whatever it was from when I left the room. Make a fuss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's so into numbers right now too.
Oh, is he? Yeah.
He's like so into numbers and time.
And we put them together. We put humans, we have put time and numbers together. And that's interesting. We measure time with numbers, not with letters, not with well, some people do without do, 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 do.
And I think it was all set up because
I'm sorry. And let me bong. It's 1 o'clock. Okay. I didn't mean to interrupt. Bong, man.
It's because I'm in a different time zone.
Well, now it's 1 o'clock for everybody.
Yeah, now it's 1. But they set it up around cycles, right? The harvest cycles, the moon cycles. That's what it's all about.
Well, the hours of the clock were, I think, from a sundial in ancient Egypt, as far as we've said. It was ours, we know in Western culture. I'm sure the Chinese were doing something even before then. I mean, the country of China is huge, and there's so much history we don't know about China. I'm so curious because they don't let us know it. The internet. Just some, history book stuff. But I'm sure, that, like, when there were ancient trade routes and, throughout the first millennium, like, I'd imagine there was so much information going back. Hey, Zay is up. Do you know what time it is? Zay? You don't? I don't either. I was just asking if you did. Is it right now? It is right now.
I'm looking at the clock.
Oh, he is? Okay, what time is it?
6:59.
6:59. That's really good. So what is that? 6:59. We would call that 6:59 because we had to make it more complicated than 6:59.
We did, didn't it?
We had to make it catchy. We had to make it catchy when we got older. Yeah. 6:59.
So Faith, what do you think? You just were saying about, there's no time with, the angels and spirits and stuff like that. So how do you think that works? Can you wrap your mind around it to explain it?
Say it again.
Can you wrap your mind around it to explain?
Well, my understanding is they don't have space and time constraints in the spirit, what I call the spirit realm. And so they actually this is where it really starts to trip out. And it was perfect. Lisa's screen right then. We had a little smoke show, like dry ice looked like for a minute. She just went to the other dimension and came back.
She did.
But so yeah, they don't have space and time constraints, so they can actually be in more than one place in one time, which is weird.
It is weird.
So I try to explain that if, like, an ancestor or something that's passed, they can actually be watching out 24/7 for all of their family, not just one person. So it's really trippy for our minds. And I think makes sense that once people are more altered and out of their ego from like
Mhm.
psychedelics or something, that they can start to trip out on time,
Yeah.
Yeah.
because it's a
Perception. It's a perception. We
yeah,
just
it's an
talked about
illusion.
that for 20 minutes, being kids. It felt like
Yeah.
20 minutes. Being kids lasting for 10 years and then being adults. And you just said it flies by like weeks and weeks, feel like days and days. And
Right.
it's perspective. It's a perspective. But physics will say, you fly someone up to space, they come back, they're younger than they should have aged more. They have like they're going to live like a minute or two longer than they would have or something like that, if they just orbit the earth a couple times, go up there for a little while. And there's a lot of speculation about black holes, but most people believe, my dad tells me that a lot of stuff about, so he's always talked to me about space and stuff, and now my boyfriend does too. But like when you approach a black hole, when you get to the event horizon, time stops. That's what they theorize, and we would see them like maybe go into it, but they would never experience going into it from their
Hmm.
perspective. Like time would
Right.
continue to cut in half and cut in half, and I can't imagine what that would be like. I guess it would feel like just like it does right now. Maybe,
Yeah. Yeah.
no, you wouldn't know any different. It just seems like you would. It's really
Yeah.
strange. It's just a really weird thing to think about. So what are
It's
some like
tricky.
I love time travel movies, for example. That's probably I will watch any time travel movie, how dumb it is, or
I
cheesy or
like them
whatever.
too.
I just love time travel movies. I love that first book I wrote was a time travel novel. And I just have so much fun with them. And I think that I haven't heard anything in any time travel stories that I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. That's the way it is. I haven't. But what we all, the metaphysical, what you're talking about, faith, it's all on top of each other. Today, I had a reading with Carluccio, and he gave me a reading. He's a friend, or not a friend. I have a follower of his on Instagram, and I met him through Jennifer Love, who's been on the podcast, listeners, as you know, if you listen. And I just loved he gave me like a mini reading for free. So I got a reading with him, and he channeled a guide of mine. He channeled Sam, and he
Hmm.
explained some things about time, oddly enough. And I'm remembering it right now because that was one of the craziest readings and one of the best readings I've ever had in my life, and it's recorded. So I'll double check what it was because I haven't watched it or listened to it again. But when he channeled Sam, he talked for about 45 minutes, and he told me all this stuff about stuff like time and dimensions. And it was mainly about a Carluccio afterwards was like, what happened? I've never had anything like that, So he was pretty surprised by the information that came through too. So the way Sam was explaining it in this form through Carluccio's mouth was saying, and it was his accent even changed. It was like Sam's voice, but he was serious, Misty. He wasn't silly. He had that kind of lightheartedness to him, but he was really saying, like, look, we're talking. It was so,
Yeah.
and I
He
haven't had
was
anyone
like
channel
waiting for that
someone for me
conversation.
before. Yeah, I
Yeah.
was talking to Sam, like in a person's body. It's really
Yeah.
neat. And he says basically that it has to do with resonance. It has to do with vibrations. When you vibrate, you want to say vibrate higher levels. When we can, he was saying you can access, I can do this, and this is something I'm here for, is to work on accessing how to change dimensions with crystals and do a lot of work with crystals and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So what there's a lot to it, but basically it went something like with using resonance and stuff like how crystals work with resonance, you can do anything, like use a power system, make a power system. Basically, I've always thought you could make a sound power system instead of an electric power system. And crystals and rocks already have that built in, so you just got to amplify them somehow to make stuff happen. So what he was saying, that was just me after expanding on what he told me. So what he was saying is that Sam himself was saying is that when we go to that timeless place, that would be the fifth dimension, kind of, and time doesn't exist there. But he says the way you do it is basically you vibrate there. You get your vibration. All your cells have to like be in resonance with the fifth dimension, and something goes there. I don't know what goes there. Do we disappear? I don't know.
Hmm.
Is it part of our consciousness that goes to the fifth? That's what I always assumed. It was part of our
Yeah.
consciousness through the
Consciousness. Yeah.
dimensions.
Yeah.
Now, have either of you had this experience? This happens to me a lot when I'm meditating, or I'm just lying back and closing my eyes and trying to blank my mind and just see what happens. And I'm trying to have an out of body experience sometimes and have astral travel. I haven't knowingly been able to, but I feel my hands like moving up. Do you guys feel that ever? Your hands aren't. They're lying. Like, for example, I usually put my hands up like this, or like one up and one down, and I'll feel them like like, listeners, you can't see this, but they'd be lying on over my heart, my hands, and I would feel like the energetic arms, as though you hear about amputees having a phantom limb. With my eyes closed, I feel like they're rubber and they're flowing around in front of me, and then my knees will bend up like this and my feet will pop out like that, but it's energy doing that. But the rest of me doesn't seem to. Do you guys ever have that happen? Like maybe right before sleep, or you're going like back and forth?
Yeah, well, that's
Energy.
that's the transformational energy. That's what spiritual paths call that. Like
That's a thing. It has a name.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What? Let's explain that. I don't know what that is. Transformational energy.
So it's like you're describing, there's energy coming from the spirit realm. And when you start to connect with the spirit realm, it actually brings in transformational energy through your chakras. And it has like a vibration. And I've had it happen where your whole body will start to vibrate with that energy.
It's the energy, not my body.
Yeah.
Though. It's just inside
exactly.
my perception of my energy.
Exactly.
Like,
yes.
Forth real fast.
Exactly.
Usually.
And then it can heal. It's actually healing too. Like it can travel in through the chakras and like heal an area in the heart or whatever.
Oh. Yeah, I've felt it do that before. Like I felt it heavy in places. If that makes any sense. That's how I feel when I did it. Start getting really heavy in certain places.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So you could feel almost like if you're getting heavy, I imagine you're identifying where the energy is.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you can release it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really cool. It is very
And it can make, like when it hits those areas, it can also create like you want to cry or you want to scream or like you'll re-experience what's stuck there and then you can actually let it go.
Does that happen to you?
That's what I need to learn.
Yeah. Yeah.
How to let it go.
That's really interesting. You know, to explain, I mean, everybody I think has the experience of an energetic body and experiencing the sensations of it. We call it feeling. Like, you know, like for Misty and I talked about this on, I think, our crystal podcast, the energy hot feeling. And I'm sure you know what we're talking about, Faith. Like when you pick up a certain crystal and you're like, that's for her example, like when she picks out a crystal, it's warm and she feels that energy warm that she buys it or picks it up and keeps it, you know? And for me, I have to look and I'm drawn, you know, but sometimes objects do get warmer. And like in that podcast with Granddaughter Crow from the last time, the second part 2, when we did the incantation, I heated up my whole body. I'm starting to get hot just thinking about it. And this podcast, you look hot, Faith, and Misty, you're a little red too. And it's cold down here in Alabama.
It is crazy. Well, my hands are warm because I picked up a stone when you told me to.
Yeah. So like the energy, that's one. And listeners, if you're wondering what we're talking about by feeling these things and you haven't experienced that, or you have and you don't have words for it, we don't really either. We're working on it. She has a big word for it. What was it? Transformational energy? I'm going to Google that.
It's called no.
This is called getting jiggy with it.
Yeah, and like all of this, it's like these labels are just ways that we're trying to explain a huge phenomenon.
Yeah, it is. And I think we all experience these things all like a shock. When you get shocked by some news, don't you feel yourself go boom, 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 like real fast out? And that's example listeners, like your vision kind of goes and you feel like your body is going in like forward and backward really fast. To me, that's what it feels like. You know, like energy is like my perspective.
Yeah, and we talked about this last time, but like my understanding is music is the thing that is the closest to the transformational energy.
Yes, we did. I listened to your podcast, your last podcast this morning, and we did. Yes.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Because you can create it. You can create it with a beat or with certain vibrations or frequencies,
and you can feel
blending them together.
You can feel it.
I think everybody's had that experience where like you're at a concert or for some people, maybe it's church or whatever, like where you have this music comes. Oh, and on movies, like where everyone cries to a certain song. Yeah. You know, it's, do you watch The Last of Us? anyway, there was a certain song that played at a certain moment, and everyone was like on Twitter and everything saying, "Oh my God, I'm in tears. I'm in tears. I'm in tears." But somehow, and I thought, that's not gonna happen to me, and it totally did.
Gotcha,
Because
didn't it?
the way they did the music and something about the energy of the whole episode, and it was like collectively everyone was feeling this longing feeling.
Yeah.
You know, it was pretty incredible.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's a good feeling.
I was thinking of like another example that is it's another Fight Club reference. I seem to make a couple of Fight Club references a year in this podcast. It's not like my favorite movie or anything, but I do like that writer. But in the end, when they play the Pixies and the cities are all blowing up, everybody gets excited or cries or something, that I know who like that movie. When that part comes and that Pixies comes in, the Pixies come in and they're all like, "That's the perfect song for that moment." Of course, I don't know, that was a long time ago, but I remember that was talked about then too. Like that scene and that time, that song coming in. But it's really interesting is that music, you can't have music without time. It's based in math and it's based on rhythm and time. So it's very interesting that it's the closest thing to the transformational energy. So maybe a secret to getting there is to utilize our natural rhythms of the universe and figure out what they are. First of all, the energies, figure out what their hertz are, what their rhythms are, what these frequencies are that we don't have the sensors to interpret what's going on in those ranges that we can measure, and what can we do with them. I bet we would find out a lot more about time that way, definitely. And maybe like in a spiritual sense or a consciousness sense, to understand it, listening to music, playing music, having someone play with you or play for you, or maybe just a drum beat, just to hear the beat. That's what a lot of shamans do to get in trance. And it kind of keeps you in time and out of time, because it keeps you in the time. I think that's why they do the drum beat, so they don't lose themselves altogether. Really, if you think about it, the shaman has to stay anchored into the natural world. When I don't know if you've done trance work, either of you, but you kind of can lose yourself in there. And I know if you get too far into it, and you might not come out of that cave. But I think that's maybe why they do the drum. It gets that transformational energy going, and then it keeps them anchored too. So maybe it's a way we can access it, but still be in both places at once, perhaps.
Yeah.
Some way we can utilize sound and music, or rhythm in particular, or resonance, one or the other. But I think
you know what I love? I love the fact that you can still listen to music that somebody created after they've passed on. I think that's just so cool. That you can still hear their voice, and the way they played, and that's something that can just, go on and on and on.
That's timeless. Yeah. Recording is timeless. Yes.
So I think that's really cool.
That is cool, Misty.
Did you ever read did you ever read Growing Up, The Wrinkle in Time?
I like the cover.
Madam
And my brother loved those books, but I love the Pegasus on the cover.
Yeah.
I didn't read them though, no.
That was my very favorite book growing up, but it's a lot about the different dimensions in time, and the wrinkle in time, it actually means that like there's like a wrinkle where you can go to different dimensions, and
cool.
It's a really cool book, and it actually holds up.
I know it does.
Recently.
I know. I think my son Spencer read that. I think I gave him my brother's old paperback of it, and he didn't like to read too much, but I think he did read that one. And I gave that one to like other kids that liked it too, in like, when I had friends whose kids were kids and like books, and they went through it. Yeah, that was always a popular one. I think it's like, just like Judy Blume still holds up, Still holds up. She's like more timeless art. About time. She wrote about that, the puberty years, the tween years, and those are lost years for everybody, I think. Good old 11 to 13. Oof. Let's just forget about it. We all want to forget those years, I think.
Yeah.
Like, who am I? What's happening to my body? But so I know we've got like a lot on this outline that we didn't quite get into, but I feel like we've covered a lot, like a really good stuff.
Yeah.
Wally,
Well, I think
more like
we
I
can
want.
get to it another time or
Yeah, well, I just want to thank our sponsor real quick before I forget because
Mhm.
I almost forgot last podcast, and I just want to do while I'm thinking of it because Everclear.com is our sponsor. Everclear is an advice app where you can get advice from psychics and empaths so you can get the clarity you need to create the life you deserve.
You deserve.
You deserve.
You deserve it.
And Faith is an advisor, Faith Theor on Everclear. And I'm Lisa P on Everclear. You can get a reading from Misty on our website, and you can links to my Everclear on www.weareallpsychic.com too. And let's see, so what were you going to say, Faith, right there when I was like,
well, I think what was funny is I said we can talk about the rest of the points on time another time.
Yeah, that's funny.
But I think just to wrap up around advice, just to kind of bring it into like human realm is I think when you're asking about time, it's good to look underneath at is it a symptom of another question?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, like, if you want to know when someone's going to call or when you're going to be engaged, like, what is it you actually want to know? Like,
Yeah.
and will that even solve that, really?
Yeah, that's a good point. It's a real good point.
Yeah.
And I think also, if you're confused about all that, I think it is good to talk to someone else, like a reader or a close friend or something, just to kind of talk it through. Like, why am I so obsessed when this person's going to call?
Right.
Yeah.
The waiting is torture because you're stuck in limbo.
Exactly. And that phenomenon. And then when they do call, all you want to know is when the next call is happening, right? And so, yeah, and it doesn't solve just staying in the moment. And I've seen clients that are so obsessed with these next, like, what do you call them? The marks in time, like marriage or family or baby or whatever, that I feel like they don't get to experience the actual love of the relationship.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
You don't stop and smell the roses. Yeah.
Right.
Definitely. I wish we could all just take time to do that.
Yeah.
I think you've got it. Yeah. And I think, Faith, you've got a good point about like looking at a root cause for the worry and anxiety over focusing and obsessing on the timing. It's because of that waiting. And why is waiting so hard? What about waiting is the hardest part? It's probably because that person or somebody else left you waiting and never came back. It's probably what waiting is. And then you've never got out of that person's or that energy's limbo. For a lot of people, they gotta get to that point and realize it too.
Yeah. And also just the discomfort of being in the moment can sometimes be uncomfortable.
You're right.
Awkward.
Get out of your body and you just want to think about the future being better and hear it being better, something. Anything but this. You're right.
Right.
Yeah.
Agree.
But it's best, from our point of view as readers, we've been through it and not just as a reader. I advise this to clients because it works for me, process those emotions, get it out. And if I can, I will, I will like wait till I can if I feel it coming up, I'll go ahead and let it happen no matter, where it's, I won't like melt down. I don't think nothing that bad's going on, but if I'm under stress or something, I will be able to process it on my own now. Like when I was younger, I just suppress it until something all bottled up a lot, not on steroids. That's just me. But like when I was younger, I'd bottle up years even, and I wouldn't talk about any emotions. And then I'm just like, bleh.
Vomit.
Yeah. I don't do that anymore. That's not good. I make a lot of assumptions about other people. I don't know the truth because, I'm making assumptions because I don't ask questions. I don't clarify anything but that's not good to just sit back and let life happen. I'm trying to be more active in my life and take more initiative to make things happen. And
take the time.
Take the time.
Yep.
Take the time. Yeah, it's a good. Hey, is that your homework, Misty?
Yep. Take the time.
Take the time to process it.
Yeah. Every moment.
Take the time to process the time you're waiting and
Yes.
why you're waiting.
Uh-huh.
And it will actually save you time in the end.
Yeah,
Sure
take
will.
time.
Sure will. Time management.
The psychic way, the spiritual
Yes.
way. And on that, do you have any last advice, Faith or Misty, either of you guys on this? Advice about like, other than having a reading, advice about like, I don't know, let's think on time and readings and
I
like,
think that last point that we just came on was actually a really good one, because
you're
that's
probably
the other
right.
thing. That's the other thing that I tell people a lot, is to take some time when you have a decision to make. You know, what should I break up or not? Is to give yourself, 7 days or a moon cycle or however you want to say that. And if you're feeling like you are so freaked out about time that you have to do something right this second, for the most part, that's a sign to take time.
True.
Like that's a
That is
sign
so
to
true.
slow
If
down.
you have those impulses,
Yeah.
no, it's not a good idea.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or if you don't want to talk to anyone else about it, that's another sign it might not be right.
Yeah,
But
that's what I
most
do.
things in our life in Western culture are not that urgent, even though we think they are.
Yeah.
You know, and we just end up in fight or flight about something like, should I buy the red car or the white car? You know, and
I wish
you actually have time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or, the red crystal or the white crystal or whatever,
Oh, the carnelian or the howlite. Oh my gosh, I would be in a tizzy.
Pressure's on.
Yeah. So,
Oh my God.
yeah.
Good
Take
point.
time with time. Take time with time.
Take time with time, thinking about time, and your time is valuable. Think about that too. Anytime.
And our time is about up.
Our time is up. Everybody, we love you. Faith, thank you very much. And Misty, as always, thank you.
Thank you, listeners.
Thank you, listeners. We love you. And as always, have a great time wherever you may be. Peace out.
Bye.
Bye. Say bye, Faith.
Bye, Faith. Bye, everyone. I love you too.